I'll start with an apology. The presentation is in English. لو حد مش فاهم أنا ممكن أحاول أترجم on the fly بس وحد يساعدني. Okay. أنا بقالي 30 سنة في مصر تقريبا أو 28 سنة في مصر ومعظم الوقت كنت بشتغل مع ناس وتيمز كتير وكبير والصغير في أكتر من مجال يعني مجال إنترنت وموبايل كونتنت ونشر واعلانات وتسويق يعني كذا مجال في كذا حته كذا شركه وكذا. هبتدي على طول. What is this talk about? Okay, it's not what Edventures were expecting me to talk about, I think, but that's my platform. ماشي. The first thing is it's about humans. Okay, I want us to think about people that we deal with are on a human level. And the first thing that we should really consider is that we're all humans. We have particular kinds of human needs. We have human fears, human abilities. We're not superhumans. We're not robots. And we're not arqam. We're not numbers. We are individuals and humans. And it's very important when we think about how we deal with people to start from al-hatta di. And we're all humans. Okay. The second thing is I'm going to talk about business and the intersection between humans and business, or humans with shirka, or humans with systems. And the third thing is labor in general. What does it mean? What does it mean that I give my time, لحد, لفلوس, or give my effort, or my ideas, or my experience, or my خبرتي, أو أي حاجة, أصاد compensation rewards فلوس. What does that relationship look like? And how can it work? بعد كده نرجع تاني humans, okay? I'm going to stress on this في كل حتة. And this relationship is still a human relationship. And we should look at it like this. Then what does it mean as a society? And I'm going to try to make the case that every business is a society or a micro-society. Okay, and I'll show you how that works, and it's based on humans. Also talk a little bit about the changes we're seeing around us, globally or locally. And we're in a very, 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 very volatile space now, and everything is changing, and everything has changed. And will continue to change. And the pace of change is faster and faster. Okay, so we'll talk about how we deal with the changes, and then we'll talk about leaders. What makes leaders? What is leadership? غير management. Okay, so people management is just one aspect of leadership. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Am I qualified to talk about it? You guys can judge at the end. I've got a lot of experience. I've seen a lot of things. Doesn't mean that my way is the only way. I'll talk about my experience, personal to me, okay, and what I've done with teams. How will it go? I prefer that if you have questions, ask them at the end. Keep them to the end. We'll have a lot of space at the end for questions and answers. Think about the main concepts on each page. I'll try to encapsulate a concept or question for everyone to think about. جاهزين? ماشي. Why do we need people? Why do we need people in our business or our company? Well, the simple answer is because we can't do it all ourselves. If we could do it all ourselves, we wouldn't need people. Okay, if us and robots could do it, we'd have us and robots for sure. Okay, but we need people, and we need people for what? We can't do it ourselves, and because they also bring to us their ideas, their experience, their know-how. And a whole lot of other things that when you have people in an organization or with you, they bring a lot more than the task that you're requiring for them, or the roles and responsibilities, or roles and responsibilities. Ismail Tani? Someone from HR here? Responsibility versus accountability. What are you accountable for? Exactly. Thank you. So it's not just about the roles and responsibilities. When you have people, they have a lot of potential inside them, and their interests are very different to your interests. And some of them are great musicians and photographers and artists, and they have a life outside of your life. So it's very important that people add value to you, and you choose people based on those kind of values that they can bring. Okay. This is probably the most important thing for everyone who's starting a business or started a business. Your success, the success of your business is your people. It's not you, أو مش الفكرة، أو مش الفكرة بس، ومش فكرة في بالتنفيذ. It's الناس اللي حواليك. So getting the right kind of people and getting the best kind of people and getting the best from the people Creating the best team should be your objective number one when you start. أكتر من أجيب فلوس منين أو يعني أجيب مكتب شكله إيه من الناس. It's very, very important to create the best team. I mean, you can see this with Jurgen Klopp, okay, in Liverpool. He's got the best. He put together the best team, and he knows how to get the best out of those players. We were talking about where would Mohamed Salah go next if he doesn't get a contract with Liverpool. He'll probably go wherever Jurgen Klopp goes next. So there's a relationship that's been built up, and هو هيمشي وده هيمشي معاه. So the ability to create the best team is probably your number one priority for طول lifetime of your company. And the first 5 hires are probably the most important because that sets the tone and the culture for the rest of the people who come on board. Okay, so be very, very, very picky and careful about who you choose for الأول. How do we convince people? How would you convince people to join you and your team and your business? You know, the opportunities are everywhere. And كمان we compete globally on many roles and many positions in companies. Now are working remotely, and I can be نفس الوظيفة في أمريكا وأنا لسه في مصر. Okay, so we compete globally. Why would they choose you? And what have you got to offer them? First is alignment of purpose. Doesn't mean for example, if your purpose is, I want to build the first unicorn in Egypt. Okay, first unicorn company, $1 billion valuation. That's not going to be resonate very well with people you want to hire. It's like, ماشي, أنت عايز that what's in it for me? What's the alignment for me? But if you say, I want to solve this problem, and they're aligned with solving this problem, this is half of the thing, half of the battle for convincing them. It's alignment of purpose. If you're really aligned on purpose, people will accept to come to you even though they might have better offers elsewhere. Because purpose is very important in people's lives, because we're human. Okay? It's a great place to work. It's a great team to work with. It's very important. This is more of a consideration عند ناس كتير عن الفلوس أو مرتب أو compensation. And who am I going to work with? It's very important. If you have a good team, this is what people will come and join. It's a great opportunity for me to learn and advance myself. That means you have to give the opportunity for people to learn and to advance. You have to have this in mind from day one. Anybody coming on board with you should be in the same mindset too. He wants to learn, she wants to learn, and she wants to advance herself or himself. It's rewarding financially and mentally. Now, everyone thinks it's just the financial part, but the mentally stimulating and rewarding part is just as important. That they feel fulfilled, that they're doing something of value, that their time is valued, that their efforts are valued, that their ideas are valued. If you crack all those, then you're able to attract the best talent in the market. And probably attract people من برا, العكس. Okay? Would people work for less money, less dollars, for you than they would with someone else? I say yes, they would. If you got those other things right, okay, then you're more competitive عن الناس التانية. If you get the mix, أنا ماشي لأن هنا في 2000 جنيه أقل أو 5000 جنيه أقل ماشي بس أنا عايز أشتغل هنا. I'm learning. I'm going to be part of a good team. I'm going to be working with people I like. Exactly. So it is often the case that people will come and work for you if you've got the right mix that we just talked about, or I just talked about. They're willing to A, leave a job that they don't like and join you, and B, put other offers aside and come on board with you. And it happens in my team. صح? Yeah. Okay. My team are all the ones sitting at the back over there. Why do people leave their jobs? This gives us a clue about what we should do differently, why people are leaving their jobs. A lot of people leave their jobs, right? I'm sure everyone here has had a job and left. All right, what are the main reasons we have for leaving jobs? First one is I've been underpaid or underappreciated. I'm not appreciated and I'm not being paid enough, and my value is, I can't see my value here. Okay, so it's easy for me to, at that point, to look at another opportunity somewhere else and take that opportunity because أنا مش مرتاح هنا. مش مرتاح, مش مبسوط. Where everything I do is I don't get any kind of recognition. This is one of the key factors for people leaving. Second one is we just talked about advancement and learning. They've stopped learning. You didn't give them the space to learn anything new. You didn't consider that they should maybe try another position or try something new, or shadow someone, or rotate, or whatever tools we use to get people to learn more. People are really, really, really keen to learn more things. And if they reach a plateau, خلاص, I've learned everything here, I'm done. There's nothing left, nothing more for me to do here. أنا بعمل كده. And then خلاص, I've reached the end of learning something, I'm going to move on. Their boss sucks. I mean, this is this is number one globally for a reason for people to leave, that the manager, they can't stand their manager, all right? Is that, هو وحش أو مرعب أو هي. She doesn't listen, he doesn't listen. All these reasons are boss related, humanity related. The connection's not there. And this is فعلا number one reason why people get frustrated, whatever they do. And the relationship between them and whoever is supervising them or a line above them, that relation isn't working. And the last thing is the whole company sucks. Okay, there are companies that actually suck. All right? من فوق لتحت. Okay. ممكن بس في شركات برضو the whole culture is wrong, or it's very difficult to everything you do, you can't get anywhere. It feels like everything against you. It's frustrating to work there. They have ridiculous rules about signing in and signing out, and lunch break تلت ساعة وعارف لازم تجيب الشاي معاك. احنا شفنا كل حاجة. لازم مش أظرف مكان. Okay. So the whole company sucks is a problem, and you definitely want to make sure that when you're doing something, your company doesn't suck. It's a great place. It's a great place to work. You provide the شاي والنسكافيه واللبن وكله كل يوم. Okay. Well, there's space for people to do things. It's not just أجي أفتح الكمبيوتر واشتغل ساعات وبعد كده هروح. That's not a great place either. The whole company culture can be the reason that it sucks, even if your manager is a good one. The whole company is just وحش. Next question is, would people still work if they didn't need the money? Would you work if you didn't need the money? Yeah, there's some things you want to do, right? You enjoy a part of the work, you will still continue to do it without the money. In fact, there was a global poll by the recruitment site Monster, it's one of the big ones. 60% of people globally would work without money if they had their needs covered, of course. There's a limit. They would still want to go and work, not necessarily for 40 hours a week, not necessarily every day, but there's a balance between I need something that gives me purpose, I need to feel that I'm contributing to something bigger than myself. These are psychological needs in أي بني آدم. So even if you are set up and you have the money, you'll find that you're volunteering for things, you get involved in things, you go, you still turn up to the office. So again, it's not about the monetary value of the compensation that you're offering, it's all about finding that right place for yourself and for your people. So I was reading something yesterday that you should consider employment like marriage. I wasn't sure it was a good analogy. I'm not sure. What the guy was trying to say is that you don't just pick the first person who comes along and say, it's okay, I'll marry them. يعني أكيد في أحسن بس. No, you take a little bit of time and thought about it, and there's more considerations that go into the idea of marriage than that. So it is, in that sense, it is. But his whole concept was based on this, that I even if I didn't need the money, I would work here. I want to work on this. So it's important for us to understand why people leave, to understand what we need to be doing to make sure that they first of all come on board, and then they're happy with us. Happy people equals happy company equals happy customers equals happy partners, and so on. It starts with internally. A lot of people put focus on CSR as an external activity. We're going to donate time to this whatever X, or we're going to give computers to this school, or we're going to مش عارف ايه. حلو قوي. But CSR begins هنا and جوه الشركة. Is everybody happy? Is everybody got what they need? Are you paying the right kind of compensations? Are you being an asshole? If you're being an asshole, you need to, it doesn't matter what CSR you do, it doesn't make any difference. I'm going to go into the relationship about what does labor mean and what does work mean? What does that relationship mean? It's kind of a social contract, okay? And it's at its broadest or at its sort of broadest or narrowest definition. It's a set of tasks within a defined timeline or time frame at a defined level of quality for a defined compensation. That's kind of what work is for most people. Okay, you agree, you get a JD, a job description قد كده أو sometimes قد كده أهو ده الحاجات أنت مسؤول عنها وبتقول كل التاسكس محطوطة. And then there's the compensation قسطها, and then there's the rules, and then there's the values and policies وحاجات كده. But that's not it, or that's not all of it. And that's just the smallest part, because if that's all you're able to do is in this, then you're not contributing your ideas. You're not contributing your spirit. You're not helping your colleagues. You're not inspiring people. There's a whole other things around outside of this definition which can also be happening. But only if you, as business owners and founders and so on, leave the space for those things. When you get them, it's fantastic. But it's not something you can put on a job description. You can't say, I need you to be creative at all times. I need you to inspire your colleagues at all times. I need you to pull, if somebody's down, bring them up. Those are the things that you can't put on a job description. It doesn't make any sense. But those are the things that actually make things work on a day-to-day. So here I've said ideas to improve the product or the company. That's not on your job description. There used to be a saying, I'm not paid to think, or I don't pay you to think. It used to be something that managers would say to people working. It's like they come with an idea, said, you're not paid to think. And there's another one that says, that's above my pay grade. All right? People say that I'm not gonna solve this problem for you because that's not my pay grade. You don't want that. I mean, that's not a really good atmosphere. But if you don't give the space for people to listen to their ideas about improving things, بالذات, a lot of people have ideas when they first arrive. Why are we doing it like this? I don't understand. We could do it like this. It'd be much better. If you don't take time to listen to them, you lose an opportunity to do something much better. And usually it's the fresh eyes coming into a place that say, it doesn't make any sense. Okay? Or have you thought about this? Or you're using this tool, or بطيء وحش وفي tool تانية أنا كنت بستخدمها في شغلانة تانية حلو قوي. You need the space to hear that. All right? So you need to set that up in your mind first. Ideas for new products, and inspiring their colleagues, encouraging people, and bringing other talent to the business. How great is it when you get with someone who's really good and they say, and there's an opportunity opens up in the company and say, I have someone, and they're willing to bring their friend. And that means you succeeded in something. If they're willing to put their friend in the same place as you, then it's got to be good. Right? If they, and Andy had this, no, I'm not going to bring him into this, then you've lost. Okay, you lose an opportunity. What do you think you're paying for? يعني في الآخر آخر الشهر أنت بتدي فلوس للناس. What do you think concept that you're paying for? Is it their time? Is it their effort? Is it their ideas? It's important to think about this one specifically, because this affects everything else. Most people make the mistake of thinking that they own somebody's time. احنا نبدأ الساعة 9 أنت معايا الساعة 5. This is my time. Okay, belongs to me. Okay. This is a very old mentality, and we inherited this. It's part of the labor laws, even set up like this, that person comes in at this time and leaves at this time, and in the middle, they're here. Okay, you can do whatever you want with them within the law. Okay. But it sets up a bad kind of relationship, because that's not really what you want from someone. You don't want their time. You don't need their time. What you need is their ideas, their efforts, their experience, their knowledge, This is what you're compensating them for. But most of us make the mistake of انت رايح فين؟ أنا خلصت. طب هديك حاجة تانية. My reward for finishing early is more of the same. And this is my daughter was telling me, this is in her school. She said if anybody finishes early, يعني شاطرة, and they give her another piece of work to do, extra. I said, what kind of reward is that? She said, no, it's not a reward طبعا, it's a punishment. So you're punishing the gifted, or you're punishing the person who finishes first, أو شطرته يعني يقدر يشتغل حاجة في ساعة وحتى تاني ياخد 4 ساعات. طب هتفضل موجود برضه. بس أنا خلصت هعمل إيه يعني؟ I'm odd. So we need to get out of this. This is a very stuck place that most companies are obsessed about. Obsessed. They have people who watch people. They have people at the watching the elevators. انت رايح فين وجاي منين؟ أنا فلان راح مش عارف إيه أجيب كوكيز من المحل من غير إذن. What does it mean? I mean, are we in school? Are we treating people like kids? Yes, we are. We end up treating people like children. So will they take responsibilities? Will they grow up if they're treated like this? Will they become leaders like this? No, they don't. We set it up for failure. That system is set up for failure. What you get is time watchers. 5 إلا ربع. 5 إلا 5. We call them Cinderellas, okay? If you can guess why they're called Cinderellas. Ding! They're all in the elevator, they're all on the stairs, and everybody's rushing out the building. If you set up for Cinderellas, you set up for failure, okay? And nobody likes being treated like a kid their whole life, right? We're all adults. We went past the marhala di. We need to be much more trusting of people. We give them the guidelines, we set the expectations, tell them what it is we want from them. They do it, ahlan, bye-bye, have a nice afternoon, go out, come back, whatever. Job's done. Now, should I reward them with an extra task? Probably not. Okay. Should I look at maybe they're underutilized? Oh, maybe there's a part where this job there's something else they could be doing, but in a positive way, not in a punishing way. There's an opportunity to join a team for this project. Do you want to take that opportunity? It's going to take a couple of hours of your day every day. Can you manage that? That's a very different proposition. And طيب انت خلصت طيب خد زيادة. ماشي? What else are we paying for but we're not aware that we're paying for? Any knowledge or network. Some people come because you want them because they have a massive network. Does that translate into hours? طبعا لا. Does their knowledge translate into hours, time in the company? No, they've got knowledge that somebody else doesn't have. That's a big bonus for you as a company. You bring them on for that knowledge. I'll mention it later, but I might as well say it now that thinking is work. If you don't give space for people to think, or they say أنت بتعمل إيه؟ أنا بفكر. طب لا هنا في شغل. This is work. أنا بفكر لازم أفكر. ممكن أفكر نص ساعة على طريقة عمل الشغل ده أسرع. أو هأنجز بطريقة مختلفة، بس ما عنديش وقت أفكر إن خلاص إن الأفكار مش هتطلع. مهم. Here's something to think about. Is three things progression of things I want you to think about. When you build your first product, most people start off with a product, an idea. I want to do this. It's solving this problem, or it ends up being a product or a service. Right? In that process of building a product, you're building a business. حواليها حاجات تانية ليها علاقة بال financials, ليها علاقة بال human resources, ليها علاقة بال building a business. Okay, this is you don't just end up with a product. When you build a product, you end up with a business. Okay, that's the first step. When you build a business, you're actually building a company. What's the difference between a business and a company? A company has this kind of personality. And people use the word culture probably wrong here. It's more like a personality of a company. So for example, Google's personality is very different to Microsoft's personality. There's a company and a company. When you reach that stage of a company, you suddenly have a personality. And I want to go and work with Kijami because I like the personality of Kijami. or I want to work with Calm Solar because I love the personality of Calm Solar. There's lots of other energy companies, there's lots of other marketing companies, but this one has a different energy or has a different personality that fits my personality. So when you're building a company, it's important to understand, to reflect on what is the personality of this company that I'm building. You get to say from the beginning, or you with the other people, what is our personality? How are we different? And had the Dani. Okay? And when you build a company, you're also building a micro-society. Okay? What do I mean by this? We live in a society, a big society that's complex, claims to share a lot of values, claims to share the same values. مش هنتكلم في السياسة والله. But in a company, you have a chance to build a micro-society. Really, فعلا, the values that you wish to live by can exist in this micro-society for at least a big part of the day, or a big part of your lives, which is a huge part of your lives. If you're a business owner, becomes your life. Okay, so why not take the effort to build the society that you can't see outside? So if you believe in social justice, have social justice in your micro-society. Don't be unjust. We've got enough injustice. But don't make the mistake of doing that, or take the opportunity to change things. Go. Diversity is important inside your micro-society. Okay, try to build something that's not exactly everyone the same as you. It's not necessarily they all think the same way. Relax. If everybody thinks the same way, you don't flourish. Actually, you die. You die. Okay. So a micro-society, when you have a business, I already said this, Calm Solar, blah, 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 blah. Company is a micro-society. So if everybody thinks in the same way, as I just said, the whole society will die. It needs new thoughts. It needs new ways of thinking. Every generation comes out with a new way of looking at things, and a generation قبليها. And this is healthy. Otherwise, it'll be stuck listening to Kalsum لغاية دلوقتي. ما فيش wigs. صح؟ wigs مش هيطلع. Every generation has its ideas about how they want the society to form. All right, and that's the same with your company. This is your chance to create a micro-society. If everybody has the same skill sets, it doesn't flourish. So if all the society are farmers, there's no one else. There's no trade people. There's no, I won't say lawyers because that's probably not a good thing. Doctors, ex-lawyer. If everyone's a soldier, the society will not flourish. Right? It'll just be stagnate. All right? I'm مش بتكلم سياسة والله. So the bullet point is a society needs different minds. Okay, it needs different kinds of people, different backgrounds, different experiences, and so does a company. This is how a company flourishes. Very often, I'll look at a CV, I'll look at something, I'll be very excited to look at someone from a completely different field. ده كان شغال في hospitality. I think that could work for الحتة دي. I'm looking for someone for maybe in marketing or in PR. They're coming from a very different field where their interactions with people are very different and their ideas are very different. And it's exciting to experiment with different people from different backgrounds. And you learn a lot. You learn a hell of a lot. If you stay in the same cut, كده, it's you end up everybody's thinking the same, no innovation, everybody nodding their head when you say something, and because they're all got the same idea about life from the same place, from the same school, نفس المدرسة. Try to find مدرسة تانية دايما. As I said, a society is defined by some form of shared values, and the very first slide I said alignment of purpose or alignment of values is important, but you need to know what your values are, and they need to be not the window dressing values. عارف window dressing الفاترينا عندنا values but we're not living in those values. Okay, so we can look at what those. So do you have values that you can live up to? Let's look at some of them. Values are a very human thing. I mean, animals don't necessarily have values. I never saw it. They have behavior, they have instinct, they do things different. But do they have values? Do they sit around and talk about transparency? We're going to be Caleb but transparent. النهارده. Okay. It's not something that is in the animal world, it's something, or the plant world, it's something in the human world, very human. We attach a lot of value to value. We attach a lot of value to value. It gives definition to our lives. It's how we see ourselves and how we see the people around us. They are a construct. We construct them. They're not something that exists outside of really our minds and collective minds. This particular thing, we construct it as humans. That's why animals don't have it, I think. So we get things like ethical. People say, yes, ethics is very important in our company. We have it as a value. Really? Why do you pay this guy late? Is that ethical? Why are you squeezing me to work my weekend every single weekend? Is that ethical? Does that work for your ethics? I don't think so. Huh? It's hypocrisy. So values really have to be values. They have to live by them, and not externally, just externally, internally, your own people. It should start here. You start at the home, in this case, the business. Talk about transparency. Oh yes, we very, very, very value transparency. Okay, how much money does this guy make? We don't talk about salaries. Okay. Or we put an advert for a new position. Do we say how much we're willing to give for that position? Does anybody here put, I want this role for this amount of money? Never. Never happens. All right, but what's the problem? So we have to go through a whole process of HR and recruitment where at the end we'll do a negotiation. Okay? طيب قول لي أنت expectations كام؟ أنت كنت هتاخد كام في الشغلانة اللي فاتت دي؟ Okay? What is the point of this? قول أنا عندي الشغلانة دي ب 13000 جنيه عايزه ولا مش عايزه؟ أو من 13 ل 15. يعني خلاص I can't work for that money. I'm not going to waste my time through an interview process طويلة. وفي الآخر نخش في الحتة الكوميدية دي إنه طيب عايز كام؟ لا. It's ridiculous. Again, it's kid stuff, right? It's kid stuff. It's like treating people not as adults that they are. It's like, no, we want to come quickly I want you to work here now. لا هنرجع بقى خطوتين ورا ونتكلم على الفلوس. نتكلم على الفلوس الأول. أنا جاي ليه؟ أنا جاي للحاجات تانية طبعا بس في الآخر أنا جاي برضه الفلوس. So don't say you're transparent unless you really understand what transparency means. And this is every single value. We could go on a long time about values. I'll just do one more, which is impactful. We want to be impactful. We want to have an impact in society. What about this society that we're in now? What are you impacting? This guy's got kids in school and you're paying him late, and you could have paid him. You didn't pay him this month, or you didn't pay him on time. What's he going to do? You're impacting negatively on your own people. Where's your real value in this? So do a real like soul searching and discussions with people. Like, do we really hold these values? Are these values important to us? That we need to live by them, and look at the processes and look at your customers, how you treat your customers. They've got a problem with your product. What do? Try to hide it. Okay, لا مفيش مشكلة ابعد عني. Or try to solve it with them. And all these comes from your values, where your starting point is. What are we doing wrong? And we've talked about some things we do wrong, but all of us as business owners, we fall into a trap of making similar mistakes. Okay. I'm not going to do a long list here, just going to short list down to there. It could be a very long list. Plenty, there you go. We deal with humans, but we don't deal with empathy. Okay, we deal with power structure. أنا فوق وأنت تحت. أنا فوق وأنا صح وأنت تحت وأنت ولا حاجة. Okay, this is not dealing with humans in the correct way. When you deal with humans, it's like this. So you have to be on the same level. You have to reach the same level. Okay? In order for you to understand what is going on, you need to listen. You need to listen with empathy, which means you put yourself in the other person's shoes for a while and look at it from their perspective. Don't always say my perspective is right, because you don't know. Unless you've listened to what is in their life and their problem is really well, and try to see it in their shoes. What would I do in their situation? Fallon, how would I handle this? Then you're dealing with empathy. And I think this is really important for us to keep going back to the humans around us. How do we deal with them? Okay, and not be arrogant and say, well, I'm a pay grade higher than you. أنا البوس النهاردة. It creates the wrong kind of it sets you up for failure or sets them up for failure في الآخر. What are their needs? What's going on in their lives? Where are they? Sometimes people have problems, temporary problems. They can't perform how they were performing. Their performance goes down. This is usually a little signal that something going on in their lives that's not right. في حاجة مكسورة. It's very good to try and find out what that is, because it could be a health problem, it could be a financial problem, it could be worries about family, it could be مليون حاجة. But it's temporary and it can be solved. And it's important for you to understand and to have a conversation with someone, say, look, I know you're not really doing as well as you were doing recently, and I'd like to have a discussion about why that is, rather than assuming that ده كسلان واديله warning واديله second warning وباي باي. Okay, finally humanity في الحتة دي مفيش. Okay, so it's important you will gain so much by doing this. First of all, you gain trust. You gain their loyalty. You gain you manage to retain that person where you could have taken a path and lost them. All right. So it's important for us to remember this frequently. We make these kind of mistakes probably every day or every week or every month. لا في حاجة مهمة لازم نشتغل بالليل. كلنا هنشتغل بالليل. أو الويكند للشغل. معلش. Deadlines. مش عارف إيه. Clients. أي كان. Okay. Now there are times when there is an urgency. There's a force majeure, and we all need to jump on board and fix it. Okay. But they're very, very rare. When it's actually force majeure, is rare. What happens is every weekend becomes a force majeure. Every night becomes لا ممكن تستنى كامل الشغل معايا ساعة نخلص ده. What does it mean? أولا, it means that their time isn't valuable. They don't have lives outside of this life. They don't have commitments. They don't have to pick up kids from school. They don't have to visit a relative in hospital. There's no life outside of this little life that you've created, this society. No, of course there is. It's just that you decide to be blind to this. Now you can always say اللي ممكن يقعد اللي عايز يمشي ولا محتاج يمشي من غير guilt, من غير pressure. أو ممكن اللي يقعد يجي متأخر بكرة واللي يمشي النهارده ممكن يجي ممكن ياخد المسؤولية دي على الصبح. بس كذا طرق. مش لازم إن كلنا هنقعد بالليل أو كلنا هنشتغل ويكند أو تك تيم معلش ويكند معانا. It doesn't make sense. And what happens is it becomes a habit, becomes habitual. You always end up working weekends. You always end up working evenings. And it's dishonest. Where's the social contract that says, this is what you brought me here for. These are my expectations that you set with me. We set these expectations together. We negotiated them together. Well, now I'm being abused. Daily, constantly, weekly. All right? This is not the relationship that you want to have in any society. That's why when people say, we're like a family. Okay? Family أكبر abusive relationship في العالم. Okay? We all say this because بابا قال كذا. Okay? ما حدش بيقول لا عشان بابا عايز كده. بابا هيزعل. ماما هتزعل. جد هيزعل. What's this bullshit? هيزعل ماشي. The family is not the best structure for a micro society with people who are all adults and are all equal as humans. Okay, we're all equal as humans. Family is a top-down structure, very much. There are exceptions where families can be much more democratic and you take everybody's opinion before you make a decision that affects the family, but it's rare. But this is how we should be. I'm going to take a decision today, guys. It's going to put us over here. I can take the decision or I can open it up with the rest of the people and say, give me your opinion about this decision. And I'm treating them as adults with a stake. Everyone's in the society. They have a stake in the business, even if they don't have asum. They have a stake in the success of the business. And I'm about to take it over here. Big decision. Why am I not including everyone in the decision? عشان أنا بابا. عشان أنا without fault. I make all the best decisions. لا أكيد لا. I'm a human. برضو. The other side of human is weakness, is poor decision making, is solo thinking. Takes you down that path. Be very careful how you use people's time. Be very careful when you say, we're all going to need to work this weekend. Or, ممكن تقعد ساعة بعد الشغل. Have a discussion, don't make it feel like it's an obligation as well. Wallahi la, and I have something already planned. I can't cancel. Or I can't work this weekend, I have a flight. Or I have a trip. or my kids are, whatever, in can. We need to set up the discussion and the discourse so that we can have the flexibility to those that can or willing to, can, and those that can't or unwilling to, don't have to. We're all adults, mufrood. When we do this, we're expecting people to bear the burden of our lack of planning. We as heads of something, we messed up. We didn't get it done in a time that we said we'd get it done. So who pays the price for our lack of planning or our lack of forethought? Everybody else pays the price. This is unfair. Why should they pay the price for your mistakes? So be very careful again. And planning, think things through. And what happens if? What's a contingency if? هل كذا عندي ناس تانية ممكن يشتغلوا معنا or hire temporary workers, whatever the solution. But these people, their time is important to me. And they shouldn't pay the price for me messing up. Let that sink in. Think about that. Think about your responsibility is to allow those people to have their time as well. And we have a whole concept about what is work and what is outside of work. And the lines are blurring every day about what this. I'll talk about this in a little bit, but we talk about change. The line between most of us will work those 8 hours, and then we'll spend an hour commuting each way, okay? Or we'll spend 2 hours catching up on stuff, بالليل. Or we'll aslan spend the weekend trying to catch up before the week starts again. So we're already outside of the kind of social contract that we had with this entity, with this society. So we're because of these blurred lines, we're already working 50 or 60 hours a week. Okay, so what happens when people work 50, 60 hours a week for an extended period of time? They get burned out, they get sick. Not just burned out, they can get physically sick. And then you've got two people, I can't come in this week, I'm not well. You've affected them negatively with these stupid expectations of work. They can't possibly, we're not machines, we're humans. So be very, very, very wary of when you use that card, and I need you to work late, or I need this done today because I've messed up, because I should have told you yesterday, okay? Who will pay the price of your lack of planning? Are you being an unreasonable asshole? Okay, this is a question to think about every day when you go home. Was I being an unreasonable asshole? Yes, I was. I need to fix that. Or think about it in the morning. Am I going to fall into the trap of being an unreasonable asshole again? Think about it, and you'll stop yourself from being the unreasonable asshole. Okay, the world has enough unreasonable assholes. There's no shortage, صح? What should we be doing on the positive side? Plenty. We should be doing plenty. That's it, done. We need to enable leadership. We need to create leaders in our organization. It's not just doers. Doers, that's one thing. Leaders is a completely different thing. And you want to give people the ownership of something, the real ownership of something, to make decisions for themselves, to come to you with ideas, to be involved in the hiring process of people who they're going to work with. And all of these things are creating leaders in your organization. If you have people who are leaders in your organization becomes very powerful. مرة واحدة. And you hire for that kind of ability or that desire to be a leader, not a manager, not a boss, a leader. Okay, we need to enable this process. We need to find the ways to extract the potential of these people to be leaders in the organization. And we need to create the environment around them. Okay, we need to create an environment that is positive, reinforces the good stuff, and understands their real value to us. Okay, like we said right at the very, very beginning, our success is built on them. The people who work with you are your success, the measure of your success, and they don't all get when you're successful, they don't get it. They don't win anything. You know what I mean? Like when Kareem was sold, maybe 100 people out of several thousand got $1 million each. Okay? حلو قوي. بس كل الناس التانية اللي هم برضه اشتغلوا نفس المجهود got nothing. So what are the things that you're winning? It doesn't have to be monetary either. We've talked a lot about this, so I won't go over this. Understand that we are in a social contract, and contract needs to be equitable. Okay, it means it needs to be fair for everyone. Not the same for everyone. That's equal. Equitable means it's fair for everyone who's an individual. All individuals, okay? Let that sink in. Should you create leaders in your organization? What do you think? Yes, you should try to create leaders in. You're not the only person who should have a voice in the society you live in. The society you live in for most time of the day is that one. All right, whether it's remotely or physically.
Can we take a 10-minute break?
Oh, I'd love a 10-minute break, yeah. But 10 minutes, yeah? Good.